All right, now I want to talk to you about the formatting of the paper and the marking criteria. So it's always a good idea if you're printing this off to do a test print to ensure that the graphs and tables print properly before submitting. Use proper sentence structure, no bullets, no incomplete sentences. Ensure the paper is double spaced. Ensure you're using the APA style for your citations and references. Again, if you're using information from the manual or from other sources, such as Chi-Hi, you must cite and reference it as applicable. The entire assignment should also include page numbers, top right-hand corner, and the entire assignment should also be single-sided. So what that means is don't print on both sides of the page if you're printing it. Please just have it single-sided. And now we're going to move on to the marking criteria. With everything you write, it's very, very important to look at the marking criteria and complete a lot of your work based on it. So for 5 marks, we need to see the purpose of your report, which is typically done in the introduction. I want to ensure that you've included all of the various components of the report. So really, that's an easy 10 marks. As long as you have the headings in there, you're doing pretty good. Up next, with 15 marks, you need to include the appropriate rules for each component. So that means, are you completing the appendix how an appendix should be doing? In the methodology section, are you going over the stats? Are you talking about physician service? Things like that. So do you understand what each component of the report means? So that's how you're going to be graded. You need to complete at least 1 table and 1 graph. You can certainly have more, but I want a minimum of 1 of each. So for the table, you're being marked for content. So are you including the information that you need to include? Does it make sense? Are your titles complete? As you know from analysis 1 and 2, you need an appropriate header, you need an appropriate footer. There are 3 data elements in your header that we're looking for. There's 4 data elements in your footer that we're looking for, and ensure that your titles are complete. We also take a look at your column headings and the titles there to ensure they make sense. Instructions. So just is it clear as to what you're doing in this particular report? And your formatting. Does it look good? It has to look good. If when I see a poor looking table or graph, I kind of question the data within it. Is it really that good if the report doesn't look very good? So formatting is important as well as the content. In your graph, the same thing that we're looking for. So instructions, think about that means like, are your abbreviations spelled out? Is it clear? Do you understand? Are you using an asterisk and then putting the additional descriptions at the bottom? So that's kind of what we're looking at for instruction. Keeping your audience in mind. So that's where you're defining things that you're defining. You're not overly defining stuff if you feel like your audience should already know it. Of course, use correct spelling, grammar, follow the proper APA rules for citations and references in that section, and the total case study is worth 70 marks. So again, ensure that you're following the appropriate marking criteria. If your page is if you're short on content, you'll be docked 10%, and if you go over your content, you'll be docked 10%. So it's always important to take a look at your marking criteria.